Imagine a factory releasing pollution into the air, affecting nearby residents' health. Now picture a beautifully maintained park that everyone in the neighborhood can enjoy. These are examples of external costs, negative impacts on others, and external benefits, positive effects that go beyond the person responsible. In this video, we'll introduce these concepts and explore how they play a crucial role in markets and policy decisions.
This module is all about externalities. In it, we'll cover what is an externality, why does a negative externality cause reductions in efficiency. Example here would be like, why does pollution cause market outcomes to be inefficient? And then how can we solve that externality problem? We'll start off with defining externalities. Right? So an externality is going to be any time either your decision or your choice, or say a firm's decision or their choice, has a side effect on others that isn't taken into account in terms of the costs or benefits. Right? So you can think of an externality as a side effect of an activity that affects bystanders whose interests aren't taken into account when that decision is made. So I'll go through a couple of examples here. So we have negative externalities and positive externalities. These negative externalities are going to be harming bystanders who are not part of that decision. Their interests are not taken into account. So think about chemical pollution, factories dumping chemical waste into rivers. That's going to go downstream and affect the health of others that were not part of that decision of whether or not to do that. Same thing for noise pollution. Another example is going to be air pollution or other risky behavior that could be affecting the health of others. Infectious diseases, going around coughing and sneezing everywhere on people, that's going to get them sick. Those negative impacts on others aren't necessarily taken into account when people decide to do that. A positive externality is going to be a benefit for a bystander. So classic examples here would be education and vaccines. These are standard textbook examples of a positive externality or a positive external benefit for someone. So education, there's lots of research that shows that if, say, you get more education, it not only improves your life through higher wages, so you get the return, that would be the private return of getting more education, but there's also external benefits on others in terms of you have lower crime rates, more likely to vote. You becoming the more education you have, the more likely you are to invent new products that everyone gets to get some return off of that you don't get to capture in your own wages. Vaccines, this would be like flu vaccines. So if I get a flu vaccine, I am reducing my own risk of getting serious flu symptoms. Right? That would be the private return. The external benefit to other people is if I get the flu vaccine, I'm less likely to pass it on to them. Right? And so we have like massive external benefits from people getting vaccinated. And so that's going to lead to a private market outcomes when you have external benefits. Those external benefits like lower infectious diseases on others, that would be an external benefit. That's not taken into account when you do your cost benefit analysis of whether or not to get vaccinated. And so we're going to have underproduction in a market outcome. So we'll have a market failure here. For a negative externality, so these are going to be harming bystanders. You should think just pollution. That's going to be the classic example we'll go through. When a firm decides how much to pollute, they're not taking into account the costs that they're going to impose on others. And so they're going to overproduce when doing their own cost-benefit analysis with their private costs and private benefits. And so that's going to lead to overproduction and a market failure in this case as well. Now, a key point here is a price change is not going to be an externality. Right? So if you have two firms, Coke and Pepsi, Coke's going to lower its price. That's going to harm Pepsi. That is not an externality. Okay, that's just part of the market system through price changes that are going on. Right. So an increase in price is going to hurt customers, but that's going to offset by gain to a seller. Right. And so since the pain to consumers is offset by gain to the seller, then that's not necessarily an externality. So these price changes aren't externalities because once the effects are totaled, neither costs nor benefits have been generated.